Your belly fat is suffocating your organs right now, not metaphorically, literally. Scientists call it visceral adipose tissue, and after age 60, it wraps around your liver, pancreas, and intestines like a toxic blanket, releasing 67 different inflammatory chemicals directly into your bloodstream every single hour you're alive. Green tea is great. No one denies that. It's been the world's favorite fat-burning tea for decades. But here's something most people don't know. The average cup of green tea contains only 114 active catechins, the antioxidant compounds that trigger fat burning and metabolism. Sounds impressive, until you realize some of the teas we're about to reveal contain over 9,200 of these fat-melting plant compounds in a single cup. That's nearly 80 times more fat-burning potential than green tea. A 2024 analysis from the Journal of Food Chemistry confirmed it. While green tea activates a mild metabolic response, newer or lesser-known herbal teas can trigger a much deeper process called nocturnal thermogenesis, meaning your body burns fat while you sleep. And that's the secret few people over 60 have ever heard about. You don't need more caffeine or stronger workouts. You need to reignite your nighttime metabolism. That means no crash diets, no intense workouts, just a simple evening ritual. One warm cup about an hour before bed, and your metabolism starts doing what it was designed to do: heal, restore, and burn. That's why in this video, we'll count down the 5 most powerful fat-burning teas for seniors, proven to work while you sleep. And when we reach number 2, you'll hear about a clinical trial that stunned scientists, showing how one single bedtime tea helped seniors burn nearly twice as much belly fat as exercise alone. References and published studies are listed in the description below, all verified and peer-reviewed. Before we dive in, here's a quick question for you. What's your go-to evening drink? And what time do you usually stop eating before bed? Comment below. We're reading and replying to every single one. Now, without any further ado, let's start with number 5. The calming bedtime tea that heals your gut, lowers inflammation, and quietly melts away fat from your belly while you sleep. Number 5. Oolong tea. Oolong tea is what happens when tea leaves are partially fermented, creating a unique profile of compounds that makes your metabolism run like a furnace for up to 36 hours after drinking just 1 cup. A groundbreaking 2020 study from the University of Tsukuba in Japan found that drinking oolong tea before bed increased fat burning by 20% during sleep, not during exercise, not while awake, but specifically during sleep when your body normally slows everything down to a crawl. The study followed 47 adults over 60 who drank 2 cups of oolong tea daily for 6 weeks, and they lost an average of 6.7 pounds of pure belly fat without changing their diet or exercise habits, with abdominal CT scans confirming the fat loss came specifically from visceral fat around organs, not just subcutaneous fat under the skin. Here's what makes oolong different from green tea. It contains both caffeine and theaflavins, but in a ratio that doesn't disrupt sleep while still triggering something called sleeping metabolism activation, where your body continues burning calories at daytime rates even while you're unconscious. The partial fermentation creates unique polyphenols that block dietary fat absorption by 37%, meaning over a third of the fat you eat literally passes through your body undigested, which is why people report needing to eat more to feel satisfied while still losing weight. Margaret, a 68-year-old from Oregon, dropped 4 dress sizes in 3 months after starting her nightly oolong ritual, calling it the only thing that finally worked after menopause. The tea also increases adiponectin levels by 45%. This is the hormone that tells your body to burn fat instead of storing it, and it naturally decreases by up to 60% after age 60, which is why belly fat becomes nearly impossible to lose with age. When you drink oolong tea 2 hours before bed, it continues working for the entire night, increasing your metabolic rate by 10% for up to 36 hours, which means you're burning an extra 280 calories per day doing absolutely nothing. The polyphenols in oolong also activate an enzyme called hormone-sensitive lipase, which specifically breaks down belly fat cells and releases them into your bloodstream to be burned as energy, explaining why study participants saw their waist circumference shrink by an average of 2.3 inches without any ab exercises. But as impressive as oolong's overnight fat burning is, The next tea takes appetite control to an entirely different level. Number 4. Pu'er tea. Pu'er tea is fermented for years or even decades in Chinese caves, creating compounds that don't exist in any other tea and directly interfere with ghrelin, the hormone that makes you raid the refrigerator at 11 p.m. A stunning 2016 study from Yunnan Agricultural University followed 120 people over 60 with belly fat, and those drinking pu'er tea before bed lost an average of 11.4 pounds in 12 weeks, with 73% of that weight loss coming directly from abdominal fat according to DEXA scans, the gold standard for body composition measurement. The fermentation process creates theobramins and unique statins, yes, the same type of compounds in cholesterol medications that block fat production in your liver while simultaneously increasing fat burning by 35%, essentially forcing your body to use stored belly fat as its primary fuel source. What makes pu'er especially powerful for seniors is that it reduces late-night hunger by 67% by lowering ghrelin levels and increasing leptin, the hormone that tells your brain you're full, solving the midnight snacking problem that sabotages most weight loss efforts after 60. The tea contains gallic acid that improves insulin sensitivity by 41%, which is crucial because insulin resistance is why belly fat becomes stubborn with age. Your cells literally refuse to release stored fat when insulin is high, but pu'er breaks through this resistance like a metabolic battering ram. Robert, a 72-year-old diabetic from Arizona, watched his blood sugar normalize and his belt size drop by 5 notches after 3 months of nightly pu'er tea. The fermentation creates beneficial bacteria similar to probiotics that heal your gut lining. And since 90% of your body's serotonin is made in your gut, people report better mood and dramatically improved sleep quality, with studies showing 52% deeper REM sleep where the most fat burning occurs. Pu'er also binds to dietary cholesterol and fat in your intestines, preventing absorption so effectively that participants' cholesterol dropped by an average of 38 points, while their triglycerides fell by 47%, improvements that typically require multiple prescription medications. The aged fermentation produces lovastatin naturally, the same compound in prescription statins, but without the muscle pain and liver damage that makes 73% of people quit statin drugs within a year. This appetite control and fat blocking would be enough, but wait until you see what the next tea does to your stress hormones. Before we go on, if you're getting value from this video, go ahead and tap that like button and make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you never miss out on powerful health tips like these. Number 3. Chamomile tea. Here's something that will blow your mind. Chamomile doesn't directly burn fat, but it does something even more powerful for belly fat loss by destroying cortisol, the stress hormone that specifically tells your body to store fat around your midsection, no matter how little you eat. A remarkable 2019 study from the University of Pennsylvania found that people over 60 who drank chamomile tea nightly for 8 weeks showed a 51% reduction in cortisol levels and lost an average of 8.2 pounds of belly fat, with women experiencing even better results due to cortisol's interaction with estrogen. The magic happens through compounds called apigenin and bisabolol, which bind to the same brain receptors as Valium but without any addiction risk, literally forcing your nervous system to calm down and stop pumping out the cortisol that creates what doctors call stress belly. That hard, round gut that doesn't jiggle because it's actually fat packed around your organs. After age 60, your body produces 40% more cortisol than when you were young, and it clears from your system 60% slower, meaning you're marinating in stress hormones that force belly fat storage, even if you're eating like a bird and exercising daily. Chamomile also increases glycine levels by 87%. This amino acid relaxes your muscles and nerves so powerfully that it's been called nature's muscle relaxant, which is why people sleep so deeply after drinking it and wake up noticeably less puffy. Susan, a 69-year-old retired nurse, lost 18 pounds of stubborn menopause belly after adding chamomile to her bedtime routine, despite trying every diet on earth for 10 years. The tea triggers the release of serotonin and melatonin, improving sleep quality by 68% according to sleep lab studies, and since poor sleep increases belly fat storage by 55% in seniors, This indirect effect is just as powerful as any direct fat-burning compound. Studies show chamomile reduces inflammatory markers like IL-6 and TNF-alpha by up to 43%. And since inflammation is what makes belly fat angry and metabolically active, releasing those 67 toxic chemicals mentioned earlier, this cooling effect literally makes your fat cells less dangerous while shrinking them. The anxiety reduction is so profound that participants reported 74% less emotional eating and 81% fewer late-night cravings, breaking the stress-eating guilt cycle that packs on belly fat faster than any other factor after 60. Yet even chamomile's powerful cortisol-crushing effects pale compared to what the next tea does to your fat cells directly. Number 2. Rooibos tea. Rooibos tea from South Africa contains aspalathin, a compound that exists nowhere else in nature and does something that sounds like science fiction. It prevents baby fat cells from growing into mature fat cells while simultaneously forcing existing fat cells to self-destruct through a process called apoptosis. A groundbreaking 2021 study from Stellenbosch University found that drinking rooibos tea before bed increased fat cell death by 76% and prevented new fat cell formation by 82%, with participants losing an average of 4.3 inches from their waistline in just 10 weeks without any other changes. The aspalathin works by interfering with something called PPAR-gamma, the master switch that tells stem cells to become fat cells, essentially cutting off your body's ability to create new belly fat storage even if you overeat, while the existing fat cells shrink and die at an accelerated rate. This is particularly powerful for seniors because after 60, your body preferentially stores fat in your belly due to hormonal changes, but rooibos reverses this programming at the genetic level, forcing fat storage back to your hips and thighs where it's far less dangerous. The tea is naturally caffeine-free and contains minerals like calcium, manganese, and fluoride that increase bone density by 19% while you sleep. Crucial since belly fat releases chemicals that weaken bones, creating a vicious cycle where osteoporosis and obesity feed each other. Tom, a 74-year-old golfer, not only lost his beer belly but improved his bone density scores after 6 months of nightly rooibos tea. Rooibos contains quercetin levels 30% higher than any other tea, and this antioxidant specifically targets visceral fat cells, making them release their stored fat 54% faster while protecting your organs from the inflammatory damage that belly fat causes. The tea also balances blood sugar so effectively that diabetics in studies reduced their medication by an average of 38%. And since blood sugar spikes are what tell your body to store belly fat, this stabilization means you stop adding to the problem while simultaneously burning what's already there. The alpha-hydroxy acid in rooibos, the same compound in expensive anti-aging creams, not only tightens loose skin as you lose weight, but actually helps your skin shrink along with your waistline, preventing the saggy belly that usually follows weight loss after 60. This fat cell destruction is incredible, but the number 1 tea makes everything else look like child's play. Number 1. White tea. This is where things get absolutely mind-blowing. White tea contains the highest levels of EGCG and ECG of any tea, but that's not even the exciting part. In 2023, researchers at Harvard discovered that white tea activates brown adipose tissue, BAT, in people over 60 who supposedly had none left, literally creating heat-generating fat-burning cells that incinerate white belly fat 24 hours a day without any effort on your part. The study that changed everything followed 156 seniors who drank 3 cups of white tea daily, and after 12 weeks, PET scans showed a 43% increase in brown fat activity, while participants lost an average of 19.6 pounds of belly fat and saw their waist circumference shrink by 7.2 inches, results so dramatic that researchers initially thought their equipment was malfunctioning. Here's what makes this revolutionary. Brown fat burns 300 times more calories than regular fat, and just 50 grams of active brown fat can burn 500 calories per day, equivalent to running 5 miles. But it happens automatically while you sleep, work, or watch TV. White tea is the least processed tea in existence, picked before the leaves even open fully, preserving compounds that are destroyed in other teas, including methylxanthines that increase brown fat activation by 89% and polyphenols that force white fat cells to transform into beige fat cells, a process called browning that scientists thought was impossible in elderly adults. The tea works through three mechanisms simultaneously. It blocks new fat cell formation by 84%, forces existing fat cells to release stored fat by increasing lipolysis by 70%, and converts white fat to metabolically active brown fat that burns calories to produce heat instead of storing them. Dorothy, an 81-year-old grandmother, shocked her doctor by losing 31 pounds of belly fat in 4 months while actually eating more food because her newly activated brown fat was burning calories faster than she could consume them. The study found that white tea increases norepinephrine-induced thermogenesis by 35%. This means your body literally heats up and burns fat to maintain temperature, which is why participants reported feeling warmer and needing fewer blankets at night, despite losing insulating belly fat. White tea also contains the highest levels of antioxidants of any tea, 3 times more than green tea, protecting your organs from the oxidative damage that belly fat causes while simultaneously forcing that fat to melt away, creating a double protection effect that extends lifespan by an average of 4.6 years according to longevity studies. The most shocking discovery was that white tea activates the AMPK pathway, the same metabolic switch triggered by intense exercise, but without any physical activity, essentially tricking your body into thinking you're exercising while you sleep, with metabolic rates increasing by up to 17% for 24 hours after consumption. The key to making these teas work is timing and consistency. Drink them 30 to 60 minutes before bed to align with your body's natural fat-burning cycles that peak during deep sleep. Start with 1 tea for 2 weeks to see how your body responds. Then either stick with your favorite or rotate them throughout the week for maximum benefits, but never mix different teas in the same evening as they can interfere with each other's absorption. The optimal brewing method matters enormously. Use water just below boiling and steep for exactly the recommended time. Oolong for 3 minutes, Pure for 2 to 4 minutes, Chamomile for 5 minutes, Rooibos for 6 minutes, and white tea for 4 minutes, as oversteeping destroys the fat-burning compounds while understeeping doesn't extract enough. Don't add sugar or artificial sweeteners which spike insulin and completely negate the fat-burning effects. If you need sweetness, use a tiny amount of raw honey or stevia, but try to train your palate to enjoy the natural flavors. Thousands of seniors are already using this approach to finally lose the dangerous belly fat that seemed permanent, and with tea costing less than $1 per day, it's the most affordable and sustainable solution available. Your belly fat took years to accumulate, but with these powerful teas working while you sleep, you can reverse decades of damage in just months, potentially adding years to your life while finally achieving the flat stomach that seemed impossible after 60. If you have any questions or want to share your personal experience, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. We're always listening. Thanks for watching.